Hey guys, this is Jinx with a little bit more geeking out for you. Now, something I've been thinking about for a while, and Blackie kind of clued me into this idea, is that to talk about, I've talked about a lot of interests that I have, interests that my friends have, things that kind of, like I said in my introduction to this entire thing, that there's a particular focus for geeky and nerdy people to focus in on things that shape their lives, not just necessarily pursuits of physical pursuits or pursuits of wealth or anything like that. It's always about something significant to that person, but not necessarily significant to the world at large. For example, when I was younger, I never cared about sports, about being physically fit, or, you know, if that's obvious at all. Things about bettering myself in that respect, I wasn't interested in that. And my father and I clashed a lot when it came to this sort of thing. He was very much about the outdoors, being a sportsman, hunting, fishing, because he loved the great outdoors. He loved to be on a boat, sitting on the shoreline, casting line into the lake, hunting game, running, just all of this stuff that he did, and I never showed much interest in it. And for what it's worth, Dad, I'm sorry. You and I have never really bonded very well because our interests were so different. I was always looking to the sky, looking to the fantastic fantasy novels, and we were always on different worlds. The only things that we could really come together on was playing golf, shooting guns, which we both really enjoyed, and talking about cars. And more recently, my dad started doing, he did flight training and started doing flying and all that, and I always thought flight was incredible, so it was always good to listen to him talk about his experiences being in the air and everything else. So, I mean, in that respect, and I guess as I've gotten older, I've gotten more appreciation for those things, even his taste in music, that sort of thing. But I'm going off topic here. What really sparked all of this is that what does it mean to be geek? What does it mean to be nerdy? And it was said so well by Felicia Day, not a couple months ago. She did a response that it's not just the sum of our interests. It is the fact that geeks as a whole are dreamers. We are creators. We are artists. I just got done watching Star Trek Into Darkness. Great movie, by the way. If anyone wants to go see that, it is phenomenal. It's not just a Star Trek movie, it is just a good movie. And I was watching this special on History Channel about looking at the technology of Star Trek and how possible it would be to travel to the stars faster than light and all of that. And realistically, those concepts are very beyond us at this point in terms of physics and whatnot. I'm no scientist, so I don't know how, but I mean, the show was very poignant in saying that yes, we love to dream about these things, but it's not something that really is possible now. But there are concepts there that even were created by Gene Roddenberry back in the 70s that are still relevant. The things that we look at it and say, it's okay, it's fantastic, but maybe it isn't so fantastic. I mean, a lot of the things that we thought were fantastic 30 years ago are now reality. Something that I considered, looking through one of the role-playing books that I love to, a role-playing system, which I'll be looking at later, is GURPS, the Generic Universal Role-Playing System. And in that, the GURPS rulebook set out, I mean, this is back in the 80s when this was written, but it set out the tech levels. And at that time, when that book was written, we were at tech level 6. And now, in 20 years, we're at tech level 7. We have mobile devices that are multi-use. I mean, my cell phone is a computer, an MP3 player, a cellular phone, a GPS unit, all rolled into one, in something that is not even a half an inch thick, and it fits in my pocket. Those are concepts that are just so beyond that. But who thought up of those things? I guarantee you that a lot of this technology, a lot of these technological advances were inspired by fantastical, geeky things. I mean, look at Star Trek, for instance. Star Trek and Star Wars. I'm going to play both sides here because I do sit on both sides of the fence. And honestly, guys, that line's getting blurred very quickly. But a lot of scientists nowadays were inspired by Star Trek and Star Wars. They saw those fantastical, beautiful, wonderful things and said, I want to do that. I want to try and make those things a reality. So you look at, here's a small spoiler for you guys. In the new movie, Star Trek Into Darkness, the warp core of the Enterprise is an actual place. Now, it's not an actual warp core, obviously, but it is a massive laboratory dealing with fusion. And they were able to shoot in this facility to have it look like the Enterprise's warp core. Now, when I saw it on screen at first, I was looking at that going, that's got to be a set. That's got to be something that they thought up. No, this machine, this facility is a real place. So it was incredible that I was staring at that going, wait a second, is that real? Is it not? No, it isn't. So it is real. It's not fake. So we're seeing that sort of stuff happening right now. And where did all of that stuff come from? From the mind of a geek, from the mind of a nerd, someone who thought, this is fantastical, this is amazing, I get laughed at all the time. But yet, here I am creating something amazing. And I can't help but think about, like, back when I was a kid. I got laughed at quite often. I was made fun of very, very often because of my interest in video games and fantasy and sci-fi. And I was not accepted in the grand scheme of the cliquey ways that kids are. And I never got into that. I found a small niche of friends, a small niche of people to dream with, especially guys like Ronnie and Blackie and whatnot, and we would just live those worlds through role-playing, video games, what have you. And the other thing that brought this on is that we're at the local library book sale. They collect all these books throughout the year, and then they just turn around and sell them back to the public because the library system can't contain all of these books, or the collection's been weeded through and some of the books have been taken off the shelf. And I found these two books are their Time Life, just little like Time Life cocktail table books about the universe, the inner and outer planets. And I found myself, when I was a child, taking these out of the library very, very often and just thumbing through them and reading them, because I was just so fascinated with our solar system, with the other planets, Venus and Mars in particular, because they're so close to us and we know so much about them. Even when I was a kid back in the late 80s, early 90s, we still knew a lot about those two planets. And now we've got full panoramic view pictures of Mars, and it's amazing to me to see the surface of Mars and think, my God, that almost looks like here. That almost looks like us. So what if we could get to another solar system and find something else? And just my mind goes crazy, and I just want to imagine that. And I mean, like I said before, I'm no scientist. Math makes my head hurt. I would rather draw something than try and figure out an equation. I mean, it's never held interest for me, but that fantastical part of it, thumbing through these books, looking at things that I just thought were so amazing. One picture in particular that took my interest so deeply. And what's really odd is that I stare at these pictures and I kind of get vertigo because I'm staring at nothingness, and I'm kind of acrophobic. I'm afraid of heights. And I just kind of went, oh God, okay, maybe I'm getting shivers right now talking to you about it and looking at this picture, but it's like I can't help but look. And this picture right here, right there, is from the spacecraft that landed on Venus. It was a Russian spacecraft, and they took pictures for about an hour before the spacecraft was destroyed by the immense pressure and heat of Venus, of the surface of Venus. But they got pictures back from this place, and it made my mind go crazy, because I don't know why. It's just something about that image of the planet Venus. It's beautiful, beautiful and haunting and a little disturbing at the same time, because it was just like, what thoughts did we have about Venus at first was that it was this lush tropical planet and we couldn't see through it, and it was like this massive greenhouse of just people. And ironically, the greenhouse effect has taken hold of this planet, and it's just one big pressure cooker of lava and acid rain, and it's definitely not inhabitable at all. But it was just mesmerizing to see those images. And how did that shape me? I became an artist. I became a visionary in my own right. I would really like to think that if I ever got the chance to sit in a director's chair and bring a vision to life, that I could do something truly unique. Obviously inspired by other things, but I'd like to at least try at some point. Now that I have a real camera, maybe I will. If anyone's wanting to help me, that would be wonderful. But I'm surrounded by other geeks who create, who are visionaries in their own right. I'm surrounded by at least a half a dozen writers, my wife included. I'm surrounded by countless artists, from people who paint Warhammer miniatures, people I game with, to people who draw. I know several people who are craftsmen. They create weaponry and armor and all of this other stuff. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing about what does it mean to be a geek. It means to create. It means to dream. It means to take these beautiful images from your mind and put them down, to put them on, make them real in some way significantly. And what more could I say about this other than that if you find yourself as a geek, if you're sitting watching me, none of these concepts are foreign to you. You know what it means. I'm sure you've created things yourself. And I mean, most of the people I watch online who are YouTubers, they're doing the same thing. They are creating something because they want to express themselves. They want to be different somehow. They just don't want to follow the pack and crowd of looking at oneself, but looking at the fantastic of what's in your mind and culturing it, bringing it to life, because I guarantee you, all of those people that create these amazing and beautiful and wonderful things that we see as just entertainment and art and whatnot, I guarantee you, those are geeks. Those people are geeks in their own right, in some way, shape, or form. And that's another facet of this, is that I think there are geeks in every facet of the culture. Even people who are so into like sports and physicality and all that. I guarantee you get a bunch of guys together talking sports statistics and the NFL draft, or talking about someone's batting average. They're talking the same language to someone who has no idea what they're talking about, as if I was sitting debating whether or not Superman or Goku would win in a fight, or something like that. It's the same thing. You are passionate about it. That's the other part of this. It's about passion. Being passionate about something that you absolutely love, and just reveling in it and just loving it. So, yeah, this is Jinx geeking out. I would love to hear more about your give me video responses, guys, because what makes you what gets you excited? What makes you geeky? Because I want to know. Thank you guys for joining me. We'll see you next time.